Well, I'll be blunt here. God Eater bores me. God Eater is, in a nutshell, the same humans with overpowered weapons anime that has been around for decades. Now why would I review an anime and give away that I don't like it this early? That's because God Eater is really popular, and I needed a while to explain my standing. As of this writing, God Eater is sitting at 7.55 on myanimelist.net. Looking through my MyAnimeList list, looks like a similar anime with a similar rating would be S Cry Ed, which is about humans with overpowered weapons. The main difference here being that God Eater fights giant monsters, while S Cry Ed fights other people with overpowered weapons. This is a good point of comparison, with the obvious exception that S Cry Ed was made in 2001, while God Eater was made in 2015. And, for the record, God Eater is beautiful. The art style and aesthetic of the anime, as well as the palette shifts, work well to draw you into the mood of the scene. The animation is fluid and crisp in the right places. If you don't like a mix of 3D animation and anime, go ahead and stop right here. I am annoyed at the frequent use of slow motion and hypermotion animation, switching between the two for apparently no reason, like a scene in episode 2 where the main character and the main supporting character dramatically walk down a hallway, alternating between bullet time and 4 times speed fast forward. Both God Eater and S Cry Ed start with a male protagonist gaining his power and being fairly crap at using it. Both animes seem to follow the character as they learn how to use their super weapon, and use it in a nearly perpetual state of war in a vaguely military setting. The thing is, back in the day, I really liked S Cry Ed, because there was obvious flaws with the character and his tactics, which gave him room to grow in both power and as a character, as most fights were not to the death. This works well with superpower animes, because this can give the trump card and final form stages, which are always a peak on the interest curve. This also lets the character fail, and use that for a place for growth. God Eater's main character is placed in a world where failure means death, and is already alluded to being able to surpass those he is fighting beside. His weapon is a, quote, new type, differentiating it from, still quoting here, old type. So basically his weapon will be better by default, as opposed to him earning his powers and developing his skills. That and the scantily clad, new type user that joins the group teaches him how to use his abilities in the span of a few minutes. Pair this with the fact that the main character was seen, early on, using his wits and a compass to get to the city by avoiding the monsters and using stealth. I feel an opportunity was missed. The character ends up being a generic, superpowered one-man army with obvious love interest really early in, when they could have followed a more interesting and nuanced path of that character sneaking around doing covert things while the superpowered people are drawing attention and doing the grunt-level fighting. I would have loved to see him sneaking around a formerly devastated fortress city, getting defenses back online while monsters hunted him, and a war raged around him. Or watch him recover data, or trap civilians, or scientific personnel, in a place where no one else would ever go near. Hell, I've only watched 3 episodes so far, and it was so cookie-cutter boring that I was praying he'd lose his precious god arm bracelet and we could follow him dealing with an actual struggle. As with any anime I'm watching for the first time for this series, I write the review after watching episode 3, so maybe I'm way off base and the plot gets great, but here's the meat and potatoes so far. Someone drills up a microorganism that gets a small group of 3 scientists all hot and bothered. They start messing around with the organism in the lab, shooting it with lasers and other vague experimentation. The organism mutates quickly to defend itself, so, naturally, the scientists keep poking it, and poking it, and poking it. Finally, the organism gets pissed and tries to kill them. Well, no surprise, they not only keep poking it, but weaponize the stupid thing, creating their greatest nemesis and their best weapon simultaneously. Too bad they didn't keep poking it until they created a better anime.